All for Love by Lord Byron. Read for Librivox.org by Robert Hespe. O talk not to me of a name great in story. The days of our youth are the days of our glory, and the myrtle and ivy of sweet 22 are worth all your laurels, though ever so plenty. What are garlands and crowns to the brow that is wrinkled? 'Tis but as a dead flower with May dew besprinkled. Then away with all such from the head that is hoary. What care I for the wreaths that can only give glory? O Fame, if e'er I took delight in thy praises, 'twas less for the sake of thy high-sounding phrases, than to see the bright eyes of the dear one discover she thought I was not unworthy to love her. There chiefly I sought thee, there only I found thee. Her glance was the best of the rays that surround thee. When it sparkled over aught that was bright in my story, I knew it was love, and I felt it was glory. End of poem. This poem is in the public domain.
All Men Are Free by Eliot Napier. Read for Librivox.org by Ernst Patinama.
All men are free and equal born before the law.
So runs the worn and specious lying parrot cry. All men are free to starve or sigh, but few to feed on Egypt's corn. There toils the sweated slave, forlorn. There weeps the babe with hunger torn. Dear God, forgive us for the lie, all men are free. That man may laugh while this must mourn, one's heir to honor, one to scorn. Were they born free? Were you? Was I? No, not when born, but when they die, and of their robes, or rags, are shorn, all men are free. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
An August Midnight by Thomas Hardy. Read for Librivox.org by Anne Cheng. A shaded lamp and a waving blind, and the beat of a clock from a distant floor. On this scene enter, winged, horned, and spined, a Longlegs, a Moth, and a Dumbledore, while mid my page there idly stands a sleepy fly that rubs its hands. Thus meet we five in this still place, at this point of time, at this point in space. My guests parade my new-penned ink, or bang at the lamp-glass, whirl and sink. God's humblest they, I muse, yet why? They know earth's secrets that know not I. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Bather by Amy Lowell. Read for Librivox.org by Kristen Hughes. Thick dappled by circles of sunshine and fluttering shade, your bright, naked body advances, blown over by leaves, half quenched in their various green, just a point of you showing, a knee or a thigh, sudden glimpsed, then at once blotted into the filmy and flickering forest, to start out again triumphant, in smooth supple roundness, edged sharp as white ivory, cool, perfect, with rose rarely tinting your lips, and your breasts swelling out from the green in the opulent curves of ripe fruit, and hidden, like fruit, by the swift intermittence of leaves. So, clinging to branches and moss, you advance on the ledges of rock which hang over the stream, with the wood smells about you, the pungence of strawberry plants and of gum-oozing spruces, while below runs the water impatient, impatient to take you, to splash you, to run down your sides, to sing you of deepness, of pools brown and golden, with brown and gold flags on their borders, of blue, lingering skies floating solemnly over your beauty, of undulant waters asway in the effort to hold you, to keep you submerged and quiescent, while over you glories the summer. Oread, dryad or naiad, or just woman, clad only in youth and in gallant perfection, standing up in a great burst of sunshine, you dazzle my eyes like a snow-star, a moon. Your effulgence burns up in a halo. For you are the chalice which holds all the races of men. You slip into the pool, and the water folds over your shoulder, and over the tree-tops the clouds slowly follow your swimming, and the scent of the woods is sweet on this hot summer morning. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Business by Sam Walter Foss. Read for Librivox.org by Mark J. Layden. How is business? Asks the young man of the spirit of the years. Tell me of the modern output from the factories of fate. And what jobs are waiting for me and my peers? What's the outlook? What's the prospect? Are the wages small or great? Business growing, more men needed, says the spirit of the years. Jobs are waiting for right workmen, and I hope you are the men. Grand hard work and ample wages, work piled up in great arrears. Don't see any job particular? Listen, and I'll tell you then. There are commonwealths to govern, there are senates to be swayed, there are new states still undreamed of to be founded, new empires and far oceans to be molded. Who's afraid? And a couple polar oceans to be sounded. Come on, ye jolly empire builders, here is work for you to do, and we don't propose to get along without it. Here's the little job of building this old planet over new, and it's time to do the business. Get about it. Get to work, you world repairers. Steal the age and guide the years. Shame the antique men with bigness of your own. Grow ye larger men than Plutarchs and the old long-whiskered seers. Show the world a million kings without a throne. What's your business? Empire building, founding hierarchies for the soul, principalities and powers for the mind, bringing ever-narrowing chaos under cosmical control, building highways through its marsh lands for mankind. Sow the lonely plains with cities, thread the flowerless land with streams. Go to thinking thoughts unthought of, following where your genius leads, seeing visions, hearing voices, following stars and dreaming dreams, and then bid your dreams and visions bloom and flower into deeds. What's your business? Shaping eras, making epochs, building states, wakening slumbering rebellions in the soul, leading men and founding systems, grappling with the elder fates, till the younger fates shall greeten and assume the old control. Business rushing, fairly lively, there's a world to clean and sweep, cluttered up with wars and armies. 'Tis your work to brush 'em out. Bid the fierce clench-fisted nations clasp their hands across the deep. Wipe the tired world of armies. 'Tis a fair day's work, no doubt. Business rushing, something doing. You've a contract on your hands to wipe out the world's distinctions, country, color, caste, and birth, and to make one human family of 1,000 alien lands, nourishing 1 billion brothers, with no foreigner on earth. Have you learned yet, says the Zeitgeist, the old secret of the soul? Make the sleepy Sphinx give answer for her riddles long unguessed. Tell the riddle, clear the mystery, bid the midnight dark uproll. Let the thought with which the ages long have travailed be expressed. Go and find the northwest passage through the far seas of the mind. There, where man and God are mingled in the darkness, go and learn. Sail forth on that bournless ocean, shrouded, chartless, undefined. Pluck its mystery from that darkness, pluck its mystery, and return. What's your business? Finding out things that no other man could find. Things concealed by jealous nature under locks, behind the bars. Building paved and guttered highways for the onward march of mind through the spaces twixt the planets to the secrets of the stars. What's your business? Think like Plato. He did not exhaust all thought. Preach like Savonarola. Rule like Alfred. Do not shirk. Paint like Raphael and Titian. Build like Angelo. Why not? Sing like Shakespeare. How is business? Rather lively. Get to work. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Drunk by D.H. Lawrence. Read for Librivox.org by Kristen Hughes. Too far away, O love, I know, to save me from this haunted road, whose lofty roses break and blow on a night sky bent with a load of lights. Each solitary rose, each arc lamp golden, does expose ghost beyond ghost of a blossom, shows night blenched with 1,000 snows. Of hawthorn and of lilac trees, white lilac shows discoloured night dripping with all the golden lees laburnum gives back to light, and shows the red of hawthorn set on high to the purple heaven of night, like flags and blenched blood newly wet, bloodshed in the noiseless fight. Of life for love and love for life, of hunger for a little food, of kissing, lost for want of wife, long ago wooed. Too far away you are, my love, to steady my brain in this phantom show, that passes the nightly road above and returns again below. The enormous cliff of horse-chestnut trees is poised on each of its ledges, an erect small girl looking down at me. White night-gowned little chits I see, and they peep at me over the edges of the leaves as though they would leap, should I call them down to my arms. But, child, you're too small for me, too small your little charms. White little sheaves of night-gowned maids, some other will thresh you out. And I see leaning from the shades a lilac like a lady there, who braids her white mantilla about her face, and forward leans to catch the sight of a man's face, gracefully sighing through the white flowery mantilla of lace. And another lilac and purple veiled, discreetly, all recklessly calls in a low shocking perfume to know who has haled her forth from the night. My strength has failed, in her voice my weak heart falls. Oh, and see the laburnum shimmering her draperies down, as if she would slip the gold, and glimmering white, stand naked of gown. The pageant of flowery trees above the street pale passionate goes, and back again down the pavement love in a lesser pageant flows. 2 and 2 are the folk that walk, they pass in a half embrace of linked bodies, and they talk with dark face leaning to face. Come then, my love, come as you will along this haunted road, be whom you will, my darling, I shall keep with you the troth I trode. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Factory Windows Are Always Broken by Vachel Lindsay. Read for Librivox.org by David Lawrence in Brampton, Ontario. Factory windows are always broken. Someone's always throwing bricks. Someone's always heaving cinders, playing ugly Yahoo tricks. Factory windows are always broken. Other windows are let alone. No one throws through the chapel window the bitter, snarling, derisive stone. Factory windows are always broken. Something or other is going wrong. Something is rotten, I think in Denmark. End of factory window song. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Gods and the People by Voltairine de Cleyre. Read for Librivox.org. What have you done, O skies, that the millions should kneel to you? Why should they lift wet eyes grateful with human dew? Why should they clasp their hands and bow at thy shrines, O heaven, thanking thy high commands for the mercies that thou hast given? What have those mercies been, O thou who art called the good, who trod through a world of sin and stood where the felon stood? What is that wondrous peace vouchsafed to the child of dust, for whom all doubt shall cease in the light of thy perfect trust? How hast thou heard their prayers smoking up from the bleeding sod, who, crushed by their weight of cares, cried up to thee, Most High God? Where the swamps of humanity sicken, read the answer in dumb white scars. You, skies, gave the sore and stricken the light of your far-off stars. The children who plead are driven, shelterless through the street, receiving the mercy of heaven, hard frozen in glittering sleet. The women who prayed for pity, who called on the saving name, through the walks of your merciless city are crying the rent of shame. The starving, who gazed till the plenty in which they might not share, have died in their hunger, rent by the anguish of unheard prayer. The weary, who plead for remission, for a moment only release, have sunk with unheeded petition, this the Christ-pledged peace. These are the mercies of heaven, these are the answer of God to the prayers of the agony shriven from the paths where the millions plod. The silent scorn of the sightless, the callous ear of the deaf, the wrath of might to the mightless, the shroud and the mourning sheaf. Light to behold their squalor, breath to draw in life's pain, voices to plead and call for heaven's help, hearts tip bleed in vain. What have you done, O Church, that the weary should bless your name, should come with faith's holy torch to light up your altered fane? Why should they kiss the folds of the garment of your high priest, or bow to the chalice that holds the wine of your sacred feast? Have you blown out the breath of their sighs? Have you strengthened the weak, the ill? Have you wiped the dark tears from their eyes, and bade their sobbing be still? Have you touched, have you known, have you felt, have you bent and softly smiled in the face of the woman who dealt in lewdness to feed her child? Have you heard the cry in the night going up from the outraged heart, masked from the social sight by the cloak that but angered the smart? Have you heard the children's moan, by the light of the skies denied? Answer, O walls of stone, in the name of your crucified. Out of the clay of their heartbreak, from the red dew of its sod, you have mortared your bricks for Christ's sake, and reared a palace to God. Your painters have dipped their brushes in the tears and the blood of the race, whom, living, your dark frown crushes and limbed a dead Saviour's face. Ye have seized, in the name of God, the child's crust from famine's dole. You have taken the price of its body and sung a mass for its soul. You have smiled on the man who, deceiving, paid exemption to ease your wrath. You have cursed the poor fool who believed him, though her body lay prone in your path. You have laid the seal on the lip, you have bade us to be content, to bow neath our master's whip, and give thanks for the scourge, heaven sent. These, O Church, are your thanks. These are the fruits without flaw that flow from the chosen ranks who keep in your perfect law. Doors, hard locked on the homeless. Stained glass windows for bread. On the living, the law of dumbness, and the law of need for the dead. Better the dead who, not needing, go down to the vaults of the earth, than the living whose hearts lie bleeding, crushed by you at their very birth. What have you done, O state, that the toilers should shout your ways, should light up the fires of their hate, if a traitor should dare dispraise? How do you guard the trust that the people repose in you? Do you keep to the law of the just and hold to the changeless true? What do you mean when you say, the home of the free and brave? How free are your people, pray? Have you no such thing as a slave? What are the lauded rights, broad-sealed by your sovereign grace? What are the love-feeding sights you yield to your subject race? The rights? Ah, the right to toil, that another, idle, may reap. The right to make fruitful the soil, and a meager pittance to keep. The right of a woman to own her body spotlessly pure, and starve in the street, alone. The right of the wronged to endure. The right of the slave to its yoke. The right of the hungry to pray. The right of the toiler to vote for the master who buys his day. You have sold the sun and the air. You have dealt in the price of blood. You have taken the lion's share, while the lion is fierce for food. You have laid the load of the strong on the helpless, the young, and the weak. You have trod out the purple of wrong. Beware where its wrath shall wreak. Let the voice of the people be heard. Oh, you strangled it with your rope, denied the last dying word, while your trap and your gallows spoke. But 1,000 voices rise where the words of the martyr fell. The seed springs fast to the skies, watered deep from that bloody well. Hark! Low down you will hear the storm in the underground. Listen, tyrants, and fear. Quake at that muffled sound. Heavens that mocked our dust, smile on in your pitiless blue. Silent as you are to us, so silent are we to you. Churches that scourged our brains, priests that locked fast our hands, we planted the torch in your chains, now gather the burning brands. States that have given us law, when we asked for the right to earn bread, the sword that Damocles saw by a hair swings over your head. What ye have sown ye shall reap, teardrops and blood and hate. Gaunt gather before your seat, and knock at your palace gate. There are murderers on your thrones, there are thieves in your justice halls. White leprosy cancers their stones, and gnaws at their worm-eaten walls. And the hand of Belshazzar's feast writes over in flaming light. Thought's kingdom no more to the priest, nor the law of right to the might. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Great spirits now on earth are sojourning, by John Keats. Read for Librivox.org by Michael Dowling. Great spirits now on earth are sojourning, here the cloud, the cataract, the lake, who on Helvellyn's summit, wide awake, catches his freshness from archangel's wing. Here the rose, the violet, the spring, the social smile, the chain for freedom's sake, and lo, whose steadfastness would never take a meaner sound than Raphael's whispering. And other spirits there are standing apart upon the forehead of the age to come. These will give the world another heart and other pulses. Hear ye not the hum of mighty workings in the human mart? Listen awhile, ye nations, and be dumb. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
I Know Not Why by Maurice Rosenfeld. Read for Librivox.org by Felben. I lift mine eyes against the sky. The clouds are weeping, so am I. I lift mine eyes again on high. The sun is smiling, so am I. Why do I smile? Why do I weep? I do not know, it lies too deep. I hear the winds of autumn sigh. They break my heart, they make me cry. I hear the birds of lovely spring. My hopes revive, I help them sing. Why do I sing? Why do I cry? It lies so deep, I know not why. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Inversnade by Gerard Manley Hopkins, read for Librivox.org by Jack Throw on July 25, 2008 at Tokyo, Japan. This darksome burn, horseback brown, his roll rock high road roaring down, in coop and in comb, the fleece of his foam flutes and low to the lake falls home. A wind-puffed bonnet of fawn froth turns and twindles over the broth of a poodle so pitch-black fell, frowning, it rounds and rounds, despair to drowning. Decked with dew, dappled with dew, are the groins of the braes that the brook treads through, wiry heath-packs, flitches of fern, and the bead-bonny ash that sits over the burn. What would the world be, once bereft of wet and of wildness? Let them be left, oh, let them be left, wildness and wet. Long live the weeds and the wilderness yet. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Island by Dora Sigerson. Read for Librivox.org by Podvoxer. 'Twas the dream of a god, and the mould of his hand, that shook 'neath his stroke, that you trembled and broke to this beautiful land. Here he loosed from his hold a brown tumult of wings, till the wind on the sea bore the strange melody of an island that sings. He made you all fair, you in purple and gold, you in silver and green, till no eye that has seen without love can behold. I have left you behind in the path of the past, with the white breath of flowers, with the best of God's hours, I have left you at last. End of Island. This recording is in the public domain.
The following poem is read for Librivox.org by Shona Brogdon Sturble. Memory, William Butler Yeats. One had a lovely face, and 2 or 3 had charm. But charm and face are in vain, because the mountain grass cannot but keep the form where the mountain hare has lain. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Pobble Who Has No Toes by Edward Lear. Read for Librivox.org by Ross Clement. The Pobble Who Has No Toes. The Pobble Who Has No Toes had once as many as we. When they said, "Some day you may lose them all," he replied, "Fish fiddle-dee-dee." And his Aunt Jobiska made him drink lavender water tinged with pink, for she said, "The world in general knows that there's nothing so good for a Pobble's toes." The Pobble Who Has No Toes swam across the Bristol Channel, but before he set out he wrapped his nose in a piece of scarlet flannel, for his Aunt Jobiska said, "No harm can come to his toes if his nose is warm, and it's perfectly known that a Pobble's toes are safe provided he minds his nose." The Pobble swam fast and well, and when boats or ships came near him, he tinkedly blinkedly winkled a bell, so that all the world could hear him. And all the sailors and admirals cried, when they saw him nearing the further side, "He has gone to fish for his Aunt Jobiska's runcible cat with crimson whiskers." But before he touched the shore of the Bristol Channel, a sea-green porpoise carried away his wrapper of scarlet flannel. And when he came to observe his feet, formerly garnished with toes so neat, his face at once became forlorn on perceiving that all of his toes were gone. And nobody ever knew, from that dark day to the present, whoso had taken the Pobble's toes in a manner so far from pleasant, whether the shrimps or crawfish grey, or crafty mermaids stole them away. Nobody knew, and nobody knows, how the Pobble was robbed of his twice 5 toes. The Pobble Who Has No Toes was placed in a friendly bark, and they rowed him back and carried him up to his Aunt Jobiska's park. And she made him a feast at his earnest wish of eggs and buttercups fried with fish. And she said, "It's a fact the whole world knows that Pobbles are happier without their toes." End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Smuggler's Song by Rudyard Kipling. Read for Librivox.org by Michael Dowling. If you wake at midnight and hear a horse's feet, don't go drawing back the blind or looking in the street. Them that asks no questions isn't told a lie. Watch the wall, my darling, while the gentlemen go by. 25 ponies trotting through the dark, brandy for the parson, baccy for the clerk, laces for a lady, letters for a spy, and watch the wall, my darling, while the gentlemen go by. Running round the wood lump, if you chance to find little barrels roped and tarred, or full of brandy wine, don't you shout to come and look, nor use 'em for your play. Put the brushwood back again, and they'll be gone next day. If you see the stable door setting open wide, if you see a tired horse lying down inside, if your mother mends a coat cut about and tore, if the lining's wet and warm, don't you ask no more. If you meet King George's men dressed in blue and red, you be careful what you say, and mindful what is said. If they call you pretty maid and chuck you neath the chin, don't you tell where no one is, nor yet where no one's been. Knocks and footsteps round the house, whistles after dark, you've no call for running out till the house dogs bark. Trusty's here and Pincher's here, and see how dumb they lie. They don't fret to follow when the gentlemen go by. If you do as you've been told, likely there's a chance you'll be give a dainty doll all the way from France, with a cap of Valenciennes and a velvet hood, a present from the gentleman along of being good. 25 ponies trotting through the dark, brandy for the parson, baccy for the clerk. Them that asks no questions isn't told a lie. Watch the wall, my darling, while the gentlemen go by. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Song of Myself, Section 24, by Walt Whitman. Read for Librivox.org by Alan Davis Drake. Walt Whitman, a cosmos, of Manhattan the sun. Turbulent, fleshy, sensual, eating, drinking and breeding. No sentimentalist,
no stander above men and women or apart from them, no more modest than immodest. Unscrew the locks from the doors, unscrew the doors themselves from the jambs. Whoever degrades another degrades me, and whatever is done or said returns at last to me. Through me the afflatus surging and surging, through me the current and index. I speak the password primeval, I sing the sign of democracy. By God, I will accept nothing which cannot have their counterpart of on the same terms. Through me many long dumb voices, voices of the interminable generations of prisoners and slaves, voices of the diseased and despairing, and of thieves and dwarfs, voices of cycles of preparation and accretion, and of the threads that connect the stars, and of wombs and of the father stuff, and of the rights of them the others are down upon, of the deformed, trivial, flat, foolish, despised, fog in the air, beetles rolling balls of dung. Through me forbidden voices, voices of sexes and lusts, voices veiled, and I remove the veil, voices indecent by me, clarified and transfigured. I do not press my finger across my mouth. I keep as delicate around the bowels as around the head and heart. Copulation is no more rank to me than death is. I believe in the flesh and the appetites. Seeing, hearing, feeling are miracles, and each part and tag of me is a miracle. Divine am I inside and out, and I make holy whatever I touch or am touched from. The scent of these armpits, aroma finer than prayer. This head more than churches, Bibles, and all the creeds. If I worship one thing more than another, it shall be the spread of my own body, or any part of it. Translucent mold of me, it shall be you. Firm masculine coulter, it shall be you. Whatever goes to the tilth of me, it shall be you. You, my rich blood, your milky stream, pale strippings of my life. Breast that presses against other breasts, it shall be you. My brain, it shall be your opulent convolutions. Root of washed sweet flag, timorous pond snipe, nest of gnarled duplicate eggs, it shall be you. Mixed tussled hay of head, beard, brawn, it shall be you. Trickling sap of maple, fibre of manly wheat, it shall be you. Sun so generous, it shall be you. Vapors lighting and shading my face, it shall be you. You sweaty brooks and dews, it shall be you. Winds whose soft trickling genitals rub against me, it shall be you. Broad muscular fields, branches of live oak, loving lounger in my winding paths, it shall be you. Hands I have taken, face I have kissed, mortal I have ever touched, it shall be you. I dote on myself. There is that lot of me, and all so luscious. Each moment, and whatever happens, thrills me with joy. I cannot tell how my ankles bend, nor whence the cause of my faintest wish, nor the cause of the friendship I emit, nor the cause of the friendship I take again. That I walk up my stoop, I pause to consider if it really be. A morning glory at my window satisfies me more than the metaphysics of books. To behold the daybreak, the little light fades the immense and diaphanous shadows. The air tastes good to my palate. Hefts of the moving world at innocent gambols, silently rising, freshly exuding, scooting obligingly high and low. Something I cannot see puts outward libidinous prongs. Seas of bright juice suffuse heaven. The earth by the sky stayed with. The daily close of their junction. The heaved challenge from the east that moment over my head. The mocking taunt. See then whether you shall be master. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Song of Myself, Section 26. Read for Librivox.org by Alan Davis Drake. Now I will do nothing but listen, to accrue what I hear into this song, to let sounds contribute towards it. I hear bravuras of birds, bustle of growing wheat, gossip of flames, clack of sticks cooking my meals. I hear the sound I love, the sound of the human voice. I hear the sounds running together, combined, fused, or following. Sounds of the city and sounds out of the city, sounds of the day and night, talkative young ones to those that like them, the loud laugh of work people at their meals, the angry bass of disjointed friendship, the faint tones of the sick, the judge with hands tight on the desk, his pallid lips pronouncing a death sentence, the hevio stevedores unlading ships by the wharves, the refrain of the anchor lifters, the ring of alarm bells, the cry of fire, the whir of swift streaking engines and horse carts with promontory tinkles and colored lights, the steam whistle, the solid roll of the train of approaching cars, the slow march played at the head of the association, marching two and two. They go to guard some corpse, the flag tops are draped with black muslin. I hear the violoncello, 'tis a young man's heart's complaint. I hear the keyed cornet, it glides quickly in through my ears. It shakes mad sweet pangs through my belly and breast. I hear the chorus, it is a grand opera. Ah, this indeed is music, this suits me. A tenor large and fresh as the creation fills me. The orbic flex of his mouth is pouring and filling me full. I hear the trained soprano. What work with hers is this? The orchestra whirs me, wider than Uranus flies. It wrenches such ardors from me I did not know I possessed them. It sails me. I dab with bare feet, they are licked by the indolent waves. I am cut by bitter and angry hail. I lose my breath. Steeped amid honeyed morphine, my windpipe throttles in fakes of death. At length let up again to feel the puzzle of puzzles, and that we call being. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The following poem is read for Librivox.org by Shona Brogdon Sturble. Sonnet 129, William Shakespeare. The expense of spirit and a waste of shame is lust in action, and till action, lust is perjured, murderous, bloody, full of blame, savage, extreme, rude, cruel, not to trust, enjoyed no sooner but despised straight, past reason hunted, and no sooner had, past reason hated, as a swallowed bait, on purpose laid to make the taker mad, mad in pursuit, and in possession so, had, having, and in quest to have, extreme, of bliss in proof, and proved a very woe, before a joy proposed, behind a dream. All this the world well knows, yet none knows well to shun the heaven that leads men to this hell. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Table and the Chair by Edward Lear. Read for Librivox.org by Ross Clement. Said the table to the chair, "You can hardly be aware how I suffer from the heat and from chilblains on my feet. If we took a little walk, we might have a little talk. Pray let us take the air," said the table to the chair. Said the chair unto the table, "Now, you know we are not able. Now foolishly you talk when you know we cannot walk." Said the table with a sigh,
It can do no harm to try. I've as many legs as you. Why can't we walk on too? So they both went slowly down and walked about the town, with a cheerful bumpy sound as they toddled round and round, and everybody cried as they hastened to their side, "See, the table and the chair have come out to take the air." But in going down an alley to a castle in a valley, they completely lost their way and wandered all the day, till to see them safely back they paid a ducky quack, and a beetle and a mouse, who took them to their house. Then they whispered to each other, "Oh, delightful little brother, what a lovely walk we've taken! Let us dine on beans and bacon." So the ducky and the leetle, Brownie Mousy and the beetle, dined and danced upon their heads, till they toddled to their beds. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Yarn of the Nancy Bell by W. S. Gilbert, read for Librivox.org by Ben Cocchiaro, July 22nd, 2008, State College, Pennsylvania. 'Twas on the shores that round our coast from Deal to Ramsgate span, that I found alone on a piece of stone an elderly naval man. His hair was weedy, his beard was long, and weedy and long was he, and I heard this wight on the shore recite, in a singular minor key. "Oh, I am the cook and the captain bold, and the mate of the Nancy brig, and the boatswain tight and the midship might, and the crew of the captain's gig." And he shook his fists and he tore his hair till I really felt afraid, for I couldn't help thinking the man had been drinking, and so I simply said, "Oh, elderly man, it's little I know of the duties of the men of the sea, but I'll eat my hand if I understand how you can possibly be at once a cook and a captain bold, and the mate of the Nancy brig, and a boatswain tight, and a midship might, and the crew of the captain's gig." Then he gave a hitch to his trousers, which is a trick all seamen larn, and having got rid of a thumpin' quid, he spun this painful yarn. "'Twas in the good ship Nancy Bell that we sailed to the Indian Sea, and there on a reef we come to grief, which has often occurred to me. And pretty nigh all the crew was drowned, there was 77 a soul, and only 10 of the Nancy's men said here to the muster roll. There was me, and the cook, and the captain bold, and the mate of the Nancy brig, and the boatswain tight, and the midship might, and the crew of the captain's gig. For a month we'd neither wittles nor drink, till a hungry we did feel, so we drawed a lot, and accordin' shot the captain for our meal. The next lot fell to the Nancy's mate, and a delicate dish he made. Then our appetite with the midship might we 7 survivors stayed. And then we murdered the boatswain tight, and he much resembled pig. Then we whittled free, did the cook and me, on the crew of the captain's gig. Then only the cook and me was left, and the delicate question, which of us two goes to the kettle arose, and we argued it out as sich. For I loved the cook as a brother I did, and the cook he worshipped me, but we'd both be blowed if we'd either be stowed in the other chap's hold, you see. "I'll be eat if he dines off me," says Tom. "Yes, that," says I, "you'll be." "I'm boiled if I die, my friend," quoth I, and "Exactly so," quoth he. Says he, "Dear James, to murder me were a foolish thing to do, for don't you see that you can't cook me, while I can and will cook you?" So he boils the water and takes the salt and pepper in portions true, which he never forgot, and some chopped shallot and some sage and parsley too. "Come here," says he, with proper pride, which his smiling features tell, "'twill soothing be if I let you see how extremely nice you'll smell." And he stirred it round and round and round, and he sniffed at the foam and froth, when I ups with his heels and smothers his squeals in the scum of the boiling broth. And I eat that cook in a week or less, and, as I eating be, the last of his chops, why, I almost drops for a wesselin' sight I see. And I never grin, and I never smile, and I never larf nor play, but I sit and croak, and a single joke I have, which is to say, "Oh, I am the cook and the captain bold, and the mate of the Nancy brig, and the boatswain tight, and the midship might, and the crew of the captain's gig." End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.